You've said that Pluto was an oddball from the beginning.
Well, not from the very beginning. At the very beginning, people just assumed, because they were in search of Planet X, based on what were believed to be perturbations to the orbital path of Neptune, you either throw away Newton's laws because they're not correctly predicting where Neptune is going in the solar system, or you hypothesize that there's some yet-to-be-discovered object in the outer solar system whose gravity is torquing Neptune. And so you keep Newton's laws, at least for the moment, and you go looking for a Planet X. And that's what it went on for decades. And Percival Lowell launched a Planet X at the Lowell Observatory. He's rich enough to just name it after himself because he built it. The Lowell Observatory in Arizona. And later on, Clyde Tombaugh, a farm boy from Illinois, would be hired and finish out that study long after Lowell died, and he found Pluto.
And was Pluto doing that to Neptune?
Well, it was assumed it was until people got a closer look at Pluto and found it's not as big as they thought it was. They thought it should be as big as Neptune. The earliest listings of Pluto's properties identified as something commensurate with the size of Neptune based on expectation, not based on any real kind of measurement. And over time, the size and the mass of Pluto, as measurements got more and more accurate, went down and down and down. It was clear that was not Planet X that anybody was looking for.
Is there an official definition of a planet?
There was not. The only time before 2006, the only time the word planet had been defined was ancient Greece, where you look up against the night sky and you see stars, and then, hey, wait a minute, some things are moving night to night against those background stars. There were 7 of them. The word for wanderer in Greek is planetes, wanderers, and that's where we get the word planet from.
But planets do fit into 2 distinctive groups, don't they?
Well,
and Pluto doesn't fit into either of those.
Wait, let's back up. In ancient Greece, the only group you had to fit into was, did you move against the background sky? Mm-hmm. And there were 7 planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars. Earth wasn't a planet because we're not in our own sky. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the Sun, and the Moon. And we trace through Norse and Roman legends the names of the 7 days of the week to those 7 planetary objects. And so only after Copernicus, where he said, wait a minute, guys, maybe the sun is in the middle and Earth goes around the sun and the moon goes around Earth. And so then what did planet mean anymore? Are we the same as the sun? No, it can't be. And so we kind of grandfathered in some understanding that Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn would be planets. And that notion didn't have to be rethought because it was simple and easy. And only when we started learning more and more about the solar system, the nuances of orbits, the fact that there's a whole swath of real estate discovered in 1800, not previously known, that later known as the asteroid belt. In the 1990s, we discovered another swath of real estate that Pluto is a part of, the Kuiper belt of icy bodies beyond Neptune. So as our vocabulary becomes more and more in need of nuance, the word planet begins to lose more and more of what its definition would be.
Well, while the 8 planets that we all agree upon orbit the sun in a horizontal plane, Pluto's orbit is on a 30-degree angle relative to the rest.
Well, not quite 30. It's about 17 or 18 degrees tipped. So but that's twice as much as the next most tipped planet, which would be Mercury in this case. So Pluto, practically every measurable thing about Pluto is different from those other 8. And here's the catch. So what if you're different? I mean, we live in a society here in America where we tell ourselves at least, we embrace differences and bring them into the fold. The difference here is that we, in the 1990s, discovered other icy bodies in the outer solar system beyond Neptune with properties similar to Pluto. So no longer did we have to say, okay, Pluto will take you even though you're different. We say, Pluto, you now have brethren in the outer solar system.
So are we now saying that Pluto is an asteroid, or are we calling it a dwarf planet?
Well, in 2006, the international community voted in a triennial conference in Prague, and the vote took Pluto, reclassified it as a dwarf planet, and added some new criteria for what a planet would and should be. And that got a lot of people angry who were big Pluto fans. I didn't have a horse in that race, believe it or not. I was just happy to group Pluto with its friends and group other like objects with their friends.
Are there bigger ones than Pluto orbiting around the sun?
When the first other icy object in the outer solar system was discovered, much smaller than Pluto, it became clear to people that if we kept looking, we'd ultimately find ones bigger. And in fact, yes, there are bigger objects beyond Neptune orbiting the sun with weird orbits, icy, just like Pluto.